killed after they were buried in a landslide at the Elmina Ridge construction site in Shah Alam this morning. In the incident at about 10 a.m., the victims were working on the construction of a 0.3-meter deep drain in the housing area. Earlier, the Selangor Fire and Rescue Department said that both victims have been pulled out. They were both confirmed dead at the scene and taken to Hospital Sungai Buloh for further action. Authorities also said there were a total of 3 workers working at the site, with one of the men surviving without any injuries. All new zero-emission vehicles or ZEV, including electric cars, will require a new mandatory standardized number plate. The JPJ E-Plate, launched jointly by the Transport Ministry and Road Transport Department, JPJ will be available for order by car manufacturers and dealers at RM98 per set starting today.
Transport Minister Anthony Loke said the JPJ E-Plate is not mandatory for ZEV vehicles already on the road. However, interested owners can place their orders as early as November through the website jpjeplate.jpj.gov.my. The set will include a front vehicle plate, a rear vehicle plate, a RFID windshield sticker, and standard delivery. According to Loke, the JPJ E-Plate has 3 distinct features including improved visibility, security and smart technology, and enforcement. It offers several enhanced road safety features, such as retro-reflective features that improve nighttime visibility, anti-cloning hologram to minimize theft and fraud risks, and would allow EVs to be easily identified so the correct safety protocols can be applied during emergencies. Besides launching the new JPJ E-Plate, the MOT and JPJ also launched a new special EV series number plate, EV1 to EV9999, which is now open for bidding till September 13th.
Shares of Malaysian mini-market chain 99 Speedmart Retail Holdings rose almost 14% on its first day of trading, after making its debut as the largest domestic listing in the country for the past 7 years. The 2.3 billion ringgit IPO valued the company at around 16 billion ringgit, based on its issued capital of 8.4 billion shares.
The mini-market chain retailer raised 2.36 billion ringgit, which included 1.7 billion ringgit from an offer for sale of over 1 billion shares by the founder and chief executive Lee Tiam Wah and his wife Ng Lee Teng. It is Malaysia's largest since South Korea's Lotte Chemical Titan Holdings listing in 2017 and Southeast Asia's biggest IPO since Aman Mineral International's listing in Indonesia's in July 2023. According to Lee, after its strong debut, 99 Speedmart, which operates over 2,650 stores nationwide, now plans to expand its network to 3,000 outlets by end of 2025.
The High Court was told today that a staggering $2.4 million was diverted from 1MDB into the accounts of celebrity Kim Kardashian and musician Pharrell Williams. This was done via fugitive businessman Loh Teck Joe's shell company, Goodstar.
Financial fraud investigator Richard Templeman testified this in a lawsuit brought by 1MDB against former Treasury Secretary General Tan Sri Muhammad Irwan Sirga Abdullah and former 1MDB CEO Arul Kanda Kandasamy. Based on his investigation, by October 20, 2011, 1MDB had transferred a total of $1.03 billion to Goodstar for the benefit of Loh through a series of offshore companies. Templeman explained that from the amount, over $2 million was moved to a SunTrust bank account under the name of Telemasca Incorporated, which is linked to musician Pharrell Williams. He also revealed further sums paid from Goodstar to various entities, including $306,000 to reality TV star Kim Kardashian and another $100,000 to Kardashian and her then husband Chris Humphries, though the purpose of these transactions remain unknown. 1MDB is currently seeking $6.59 billion in damages from both Mohammad Irwan and Arul Kanda for various violations, including breach of trust and conspiracy.
We'll go for a short break. Stay with us. The government proposes a new legal framework to govern autonomous vehicles or AV on the road. Transport Minister Anthony Loke says the framework is necessary due to advancements in autonomous driving technology, particularly its application in the public transportation and logistics sectors. As an example, Loke said laws on licensing are needed to regulate how AV buses would be allowed on the road once the technology is ready for commercialization and proven safe for public use. He added that his ministry is currently taking early steps to assess how far this technology can go and how to amend the law to support digitalization. At present, there are no specific laws governing autonomous vehicles, including the Autonomous Rapid Transit or ART, aside from the Road Transport Act 1987 and the Guideline for Public Road Trials of Autonomous Vehicles. Loke said, however, that there is no specific timeline to establish the laws at the moment, as proof of concept trials involving AVs are still ongoing. He said the ministry is ready to assist the AV committee and stakeholders to facilitate any discussion on what legislation or amendments are needed. The government must prioritize improving the current transport system and infrastructure before gearing up for autonomous vehicles or AVs. Transport consultant Wan Agil Wan Hassan agrees with the government's idea on adjusting the legal framework to prepare for its adoption, but also suggests other aspects that should not be left behind.
The question is, are we ready? Because on the ground, the answer is clearly no. Our road quality is inconsistent. Our internet connectivity is patchy. We still have issues and struggling with the 5G connectivity. We lack of the infrastructure foundations, and we needed to support such advanced system. Without addressing this basic issue, the dream of AVs cruising along Malaysian streets is quite far from the reality. I think we are aware of the existence of ART, but there's a lot of comments about whether or not our infrastructure is enough to support these kind of ART services on the road, because our roads are not designed for it, right?
Wan Agil believed it is crucial to first improve the country's technology reliability and artificial intelligence ethical guidelines when preparing for AV adoption.
I think when we come to AV per se, I believe the government is moving towards the right directions. Of course, in order to adopt on the AV, it involves several key challenges and priorities. Regulatory and legal framework is quite important. The current regulations are not fully equipped for the AV technologies. It requires revisions, amendment on policies, especially like national automotive policy and national transport policy. We also need to look into the technological challenges like sensor fusion, reliability, cybersecurity, which is very crucial. We have a lot of cybersecurity issues that need to be addressed by the country. But more importantly, I think, is the ethical and liability issues. We need clear guidelines for AI decision-making and accident liabilities. This is very important when it comes to public transport. We can have AV buses or AV trams, but when it comes to accidents, because there is no one manning the fleets, even though we know there is a man behind the system, but when it comes to decision-making on accidents, this is where the ethical questions come into the picture. On top of that, we need to look into skill development by the workers that have enough skill to deal with AV technologies, and also the integrations with existing transportations. We have a lot of existing transportations like LRT, MRT, bus services. This is where the integrations is very crucial to make sure that the AV introduction is going to be very seamless. And last but not least, I think environmental concerns where adapting EVs to Malaysia, tropical weather and route conditions. We are not like the European country. Our weather is very unpredictable nowadays with the climate crisis going on. It is very important for us to really take that into considerations.
The United Nations warned that some 625,000 Palestinian students have been left with no access to education. This as 85% of school buildings in Gaza have been damaged or destroyed amid Israeli attacks, leaving them with no school to attend in the new semester, which starts today. A report released recently by the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs showed that nearly 30,000 students and educators have been killed or injured in the war-torn enclave since Israel launched a genocide in Gaza after October 7th. As of August 27th, at least 9,839 students and 411 education workers had been killed by Israel's continuing bombardment, and over 15,300 students and 2,411 education workers had been wounded. In July, 85% of Gaza's school buildings, or 477 out of 564, had been directly attacked or damaged and are in need of major renovation or complete reconstruction. Palestinian educational organizations and institutions issued a joint statement appealing to the international community and the UN to take action to protect the Palestinian education sector from Israeli attacks. The statement also called for an immediate ceasefire and the rebuilding of educational facilities in the Gaza Strip. Outgoing Indonesian President Joko Widodo will spend the remainder of his term in office in the country's future new capital in Nusantara. According to the presidential spokesperson Hasan Nazmi, President Jokowi will start working there starting Tuesday until he ends his term on October 20th.
The presidential spokesperson said that the construction of the main presidential palace in Nusantara had been completed, which would allow the president to occupy the new premises right till the inauguration of President-elect Prabowo Subianto. Though Jokowi would continue making work visits to other regions while he's staying in Nusantara. Jokowi originally planned to begin working in Nusantara in August, but it was delayed as basic infrastructure such as airports and water supply were not fully ready. As his term draws to a close, the capital relocation program is poised to be one of Jokowi's lasting legacies. Meanwhile, Hasan also did not rule out the possibility of Jokowi making changes in the cabinet lineup during the last month of his presidency, after several ministers resigned due to their participation in the upcoming gubernatorial election.
That wraps up this edition of Awani Tonight. Thanks for watching. I'm Hafiz Marzuki, and good night.